Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Simna. I hope you are doing great. So, I came across this video. This woman sending a message to white people who feel that if it were not for them, black people wouldn't have had everything they have now, the technology, and all that. And I am asking, who told you? Or maybe the internet, like, who told you? I think when people say this, especially these people say this, they are trying to run away from accountability because some of them are till today looking for a way to justify what they are doing to people that look like me or the slavery that happened to people that look like me. What do you mean that would black people would not have had access uh, to modern technology and all that? A lot of black people will choose to go back to where they are instead of the slavery that happened to them because you all are really very moving wild. The truth is that not until the world wakes up, because we need to still ask America, how did they wake up one day and said that kidnapping was what they were going to do? Because whatever that happened to black people was a case of kidnapping. Until this very moment, they are not answering to it. And they are also not opening up to paying reparations and all that. Each time you talk about it, they will tell you that bringing you to United States of America was more than enough, was your reparations. I am sure you may have seen that video of a pastor saying your reparation was the fact that they brought you to the United States. Very lame. Let's get into this video.
To all the white people who say if it wasn't for colonization, we wouldn't have technology, you wouldn't have this phone right now, you wouldn't be on the internet right now, etc., etc. One, not true. There was plenty of technology and mathematical and health and so many advancements prior to colonization, and all the Europeans saying, oh my God, this is so cool, I'm gonna burn it all down because I didn't make it. Just besides all of that, I would rather not have this phone, not have internet, not have access to any modern day technology if it would mean that my ancestors were not enslaved. I had the community that I was supposed to be born into. I was on the homeland that my ancestors came from. I had access to the cultural, spiritual traditions and customs that my ancestors took part of. I had access to the language that my ancestors took part of. I had access to the community that my ancestors were a part of. I do not want this shit. I do not care for this shit. I am not grateful, and I will never be grateful that my ancestors were enslaved. So you can take all of that and shove it up your ass. Thanks. Goodbye. Empires will continue to fall as long as people and the earth are continued to be seen as resources and commodities. Okay, now wait, listen. Okay, so what do I mean? We know that every 250 years an empire falls. So like right now it's about to be United States, and then before that, the Roman Empire, and then there was like maybe a Greek Empire, and then I don't know, all these empires. And I was thinking about what was there before the empires, and it was like indigenous people and communities. What is the data and statistics around indigenous communities falling? I'm like, the problem is there should not be empires. Empires fall because of late stage capitalism. No matter if that late stage capitalism looks like feudalism, which is like land ownership instead of like money ownership, but it's still like the ownership of people and property, or like, I don't know, anything that accumulates wealth over time is going to eat itself alive, because that is an unnatural way to live. Like, not even animals gorge themselves, eat too much food. They don't hoard food. They just eat what they need and they leave. Animals, they just take what they need and then they leave. And then it creates a sustainable cycle of life for all those inside the ecosystem. These empires will continue to rise and fall until they figure out that there should not be an empire in the first place. Until they figure out that people should be allowed to live in small communities and govern themselves and take care of themselves and live off the land, and then find those, not even call them, like, there should be no land ownership. I know that sounds crazy, but there was no such thing as land ownership in ancient indigenous cultures. The land was the kin. Nature was one. We were one with nature. Like, we need to get back to that. Otherwise, we will keep finding ourselves as a society in these situations where you have all these crazy people running the world, running the planet, and you have all these good people passing away because of lack of food or lack of water or lack of shelter or lack of this, that, and the third, because of all this lack, because we live a life of lack and we don't live a life of abundance the way we're supposed to. I know I'm gonna sound like a crazy person on TikTok, but I'm just like, how can we move to a way of life that is closer to the way it was before the Romans attacked, before the Europeans attacked, before the Greeks attacked, before all of those people invaded indigenous lands? How can we move back to a place where we are one with nature again? Like, you can have a house that is made of clay, that is made of like natural resources that are biodegradable. You don't need a bunch of like metal, a bunch of plastic, a bunch of like things that harm the earth to have shelter. You can have running water irrigation systems that do not hog and take up all the water from all of the surrounding ecosystems. Like, there are ways to live sustainably with the earth. You can do solar electricity instead of energy that comes from, digging oil out the ground. Like, we have the technology to live one with nature, but we instead choose to commodify everything and break people up from their communities so they don't have each other to lean on and they can't share resources, and then individualize everyone and make them work for these companies that don't care about them, and then those companies then exploit not only the labor of the people but then the land of the resources from the land around them, so that no one can have access to the land but the people who are exploiting it. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that nuts? Isn't that bananas? Like, we could have kids go to school and in school learn how to build a house, learn how to channel electricity from the sun, learn how to do irrigation systems that are sustainable for the environment. But instead we teach them math and science that actually doesn't help anything, or teach them finances that actually, we don't even teach them finances. It's like we live in a capitalist society, but we don't teach children finances in school. We don't teach children politics in school. You know why that is? Because they don't want us to know politics. They don't want us to know financial literacy. They don't want us to have skills that are actually going to be good for us, that'll help us actually sustain ourselves as a human population without the government. They don't want us to know anything of how to live without the government, without them overseeing every single thing that we do, because then they cannot control us. They cannot extract our labor. They cannot ensure that we are doing what they want us to do. That's it. Bye. If capitalism was good for us, the U.S. government wouldn't let us participate. Okay, now wait. I know what you're going to say. Oh, but you need capitalism, and capitalism is the way that we run the economy. And without capitalism, how else would we do business? Okay, listen. The people who created the United States, like the governing system, those were rich, educated, white, elite men. And the way that they set up everything, it was never, ever set up to benefit the masses. It was only set up to benefit the rich, white ruling class. With that in mind, we would not be allowed to participate in capitalism if it did not benefit them in some way. It does not benefit. They won't give us free healthcare because it is not profitable. They will not give us free education because it is not profitable to have an educated populace. They can't do what they want if we know what's going on. It is not profitable for them to give us, affordable housing. Like, they want us to pay them every month in order to be able to live. The capitalist systems are the same people who cut down natural resources, cut down fruit-bearing trees to ensure that people had to work, had to go through a laborious capitalist system in order for us to get food. So they intentionally cut down all fruit-bearing trees in most states. Like, that is not an accident, so that the homeless people can't eat. So the fact that they are allowing us to, even the stock market, we weren't, as a public, the public was not allowed to participate in the stock market until they felt like it was a benefit to them. So I'm just like, capitalism, y'all. No. Capitalism is not made for the general public. And I was looking at another YouTube video recently, and it was talking about the number one way to get rich in America, like to get very rich, is to be born by a rich parent. Like, that is the number one. They were like, you can go up and down between, zero and let's say $100,000 and maybe $300,000. You can go up and down between that, rise through those amount of classes. But to get anything, to become a millionaire, you needed to start a business that was funded by millionaire parents, or to even like Jeff, who's Zuckerberg, he had an infusion of like $200,000 from his parents. We know Donald Trump, he had hundreds of thousands of dollars infused by his parents. Musk, he had hundreds of thousands of dollars infused from his parents. It's like people who are extremely rich today are not rich because they created something and it went great, it was grand. They created something and then had the ability to build businesses, hire people, and scale it based on the fact that they were coming from a wealthy family. And so we are participating in capitalism, not because it's the best way to govern a society, but it is the best way to extract money, value, resources, energy, and labor from people while making them believe that they have options. By making them believe that, oh yeah, you can rise, you can get a better job, you can get a better promotion, all while ensuring that we get mortgages that are 30. Like people always like, yeah, I just bought a house. Like you didn't buy a house, you got a large loan from a bank. And even when you pay off that house, you still have to pay property taxes here in America. And not to say only in America, but so many countries don't have property taxes. Once you pay off your house is yours. So many countries don't even have debt. Like so many countries, you have to save the money in order to get the thing. And once you save the money, you can buy the thing. There is no borrowing money. There is no debt. Like debt should be illegal. It should be illegal because what does debt do but create indentured servitude? Like I've heard of a manager or a boss or a CEO say that they enjoy hiring people with kids and with mortgages because those are the people who going to be the people who work the hardest. Like we are not. Capitalism, y'all, capitalism is not good for us. It is not good for us. It's never been good for us. And the fact that they've demonized communism so much, it just makes me like, nah, communism is where it's at. Like, I got people who live in China, and they said China feels so safe. China is a wonderful place to live. They have not come back, and they're probably never going to come back because there are so many benefits to. And then people are like, oh, yeah, if you live in a communist country, if you are the enemy of the state, they'll just, off you. And I'm just like, do they not do that here? How many whistleblowers have gone missing or ended up in a river somewhere just because they don't say it's a political offing, and they just they just take care of them quietly? You guys feel like America is a safe place? I don't know. I would rather be in a place where they do it publicly and they're just like, all right, don't do this, that, and the third, and you'll be okay. And it's just like, all right, well, I won't do this, that, and the third. Or if I do, at least I know the consequences. Versus, I'm trying to stand up for what I think is right, and then I'm swimming with the fishes because I upset somebody in power. I'm just saying, y'all should think about it. Can you, like, the United States said that communism is this terrible thing? Nah, capitalism, we're all about to be indentured. We all are indentured servants. Continuing to work to pay off our debts.
This is all I got from this video, and I love how she broke all of this down. Let me tell you something. If you are part of the people, especially Black people, that you are lucky or you are blessed that you were brought here because you wouldn't, all this technology and all that you are experiencing or enjoying, you wouldn't have. Says who? Says who? Who said that I wouldn't? You think that Black people would not have invented their things by themselves? Or the ones that Black African Americans, majority of the things that they invented and all that most people decided to take some of the patterns that they refuse to acknowledge them, not until Black history, especially people that look like me, started reading more about Black people to find out that most of the things that we thought were done by white people were all manufactured, let me use that, by Black people. Like, what are you saying? Okay, the people that built United States of America, right? That is the Black African Americans that built America, that built it with their sweat and blood. You think if they were in Nigeria, why am I saying Nigeria? Okay, yeah, majority of them are Nigerian. If you think they were all in their countries, they wouldn't have done something for themselves, or they would not have created something for themselves. The technology they have today, majority of them know how to create things by themselves. I think it's like trying to, it's people running away from accountability that will make somebody say something like this. Yes, because, and also if you are sane, you won't say something like this. And the reality is that empires will continue to fall, like it has fallen. We are waiting for the last day of the empire, because if you look at what it's going on, you definitely will see how the empire has fallen, and they are looking for a way to save themselves, right? That's why they are looking for a way to hold on to the power. They are trying so hard to hold on to the power because they know that they actually do not have anything. They will not have anything anymore aside from their skin color. And which skin color cannot take you anywhere. Capitalism has eaten so deep in the blood that some of them do not want to get out of it. That's why when I see people supporting this administration, that poor people are paying tax and rich people are not paying tax, and you think that is okay. You think you should be the one paying tax for the rich people. Are you okay? At this time, we know, okay, slavery is not over, because if I say it's over, I probably will be talking ignorantly. From the things that is going on, it's just like they are looking for a way to own people at this point in time. If these people see a way that they can own you again, in a way that they will not say it's slavery, they are already planning it. And if you remember, there was a time there was influx of people saying, I am going to buy you as my slave and all that, or I will do you what they do to all these kind of talks. One thing that I have learned is that there are some things these people will say on the internet that I do not take for granted. I keep it and I hold it to my heart so that when something happens, I will bring it up again in reference. I will draw my curtain here. Bye for now.